stay with us, everyone. In November 2017, President Muhammadu Buhari presented an estimated 8.6 trillion budget proposal to a joint session of the National Assembly. In March, the leadership of the National Assembly said the appropriation bill would be passed on the 24th of April. The date passed, but the budget wasn't passed. Today, the House of Representatives has set a new date for next week. Well, will that happen? What is the economic implication of this, and perhaps the political side of it, or else we'll say, or maybe say, the implication on you, the average citizen watching whatever you may be. So let's get a perspective from my partner tonight, Mr. Bismarck Iwani, a regular economic analyst on the station, and also Mr. GT Ogunye, a lawyer here, giving perspectives to it. Mr. Bismarck, what exactly do you think may be the implication? Some will say, look, the 2017 budget is still in effect, and there may be no harm to this. What exactly do you think is happening right now?
First and foremost, let us understand something. This document was submitted to the National Assembly over 200 days ago. I don't care how big this document is, it should have been treated and approved before now. Another thing you must know is that this is an approximately 8.7 trillion naira document for the federal government of Nigeria. It has not been treated, and it's 240 days away next to an election. So essentially, for half of the year, this government and this country has been running without a federal budget. Actually, just what we call running on empty. Now, the implications of this is that there is a certain element of what I call political negligence, in the sense that the responsibility of the National Assembly is to either approve or reject it, or amend and send back for approval. This has not been done. What we hear and what we understand is that we cannot say that categorically, is that this document is being used as a negotiation tool to achieve other objectives. But that's speculation, and I'm not going to go into a realm of speculation. What is the impact of this? 8.7 trillion naira is exactly almost 4 or 5% of the GDP of this country. There are issues to be addressed. The economy of this country relies almost entirely on the fiscal dominance of the federal government of Nigeria. It's oil revenue, it's consolidated revenue fund, right? It's investments, roads, infrastructure, and consumption, wages, salaries, pensions, and all of that. If you do not get this thing done, for whatever reason, then you are actually abdicating your responsibility. And that, to a large extent, can be considered to be irresponsible. The implications are that this country's growth, which is at this point in time 0.8%, which is almost 2% below the population growth rate. The country today is witnessing what you call high unemployment and underemployment, a misery index of about 51.3. All of this can be settled, or at least they will be on a path to giving some succor to Nigerians by actually approving this budget, so the multiplier effect of the spending can be felt by the people. We have a minimum wage which has not been addressed. We have so many things which are outstanding. And the first step of this is to get the budget approved, like yesterday, with an apology for delaying it on behalf of the people.
Let's look at, for a moment, let's look at the political angle to this. Mr. Ogunye, give us a sense of what this means. This is the longest time since 1999 for a budget not to be passed. Since 1999, some of the statistics that are being passed to us from Statistens, 177 days now. The last time the budget has passed, it took 161 days in 2010, when the budget stayed for 161 days before it's passed. 177 days and it's not passed. Politically speaking, is this injurious?
Of course, no doubt about that, it is injurious. The appropriation process is perhaps the most important legislative task of any parliament. Our constitution regards it so, because there are two ways of passing bills, for example, and the constitution, gives a special place to passage of appropriation bills or money bills, Section 59 of the Constitution, while for the ordinary bills, you have Section 58. So it's a very important process. And so if you have this kind of situation, Mr. Bismarck-Rwani has said I will not speculate, but lawyers talk about inference. Is it just tardiness or indolence or legislative lethargy or mischief? What was it? Why do we have this record long time in passing
Mr.
the budget?
Let me give you the record. 2015, it took 106 days before the budget was passed. I'm talking about the budget passage under this government. In 2016, 149 days. We spent 177 days. This is a government headed by the same party in both arms of government. A lot of people will say there's been infighting in the party. But again, it's few days to the next election. And one will be wondering, how long would this continue?
There's many ways of passing passing judgment and talking about responsibility. At one level, you have the responsibility of a political party. So if you have the executive branch of government and a great number of legislators from the same party taking responsibility, then you then say that, oh, this is a failure of the APC, a political party. There are people who want to see it as a failure of the legislature. Oh, the executive has done its own bit, so it's not the legislature to do it. But the legislator will then have a retort. They will tell you that, no, we asked the head of the MDAs to come forward and defend their budgets. They didn't cooperate with us. That's why we had this kind of problem. Whatever it is, I'm saying, and I am agreeing with what Mr. Bismarck has said, that it is here responsibility for a legislature not to perform its basic function, its major duty.
Of appropriation.
Of appropriation.
All right. Let me ask Mr. Bismarck-Rwani. It's interesting to have you here. We understand that the president just arrived Nigeria today. He left the U.S. for about 2 days or so. We understand that he went to London. With what we have on hand, budget not passed, but that U.S. trip, economically speaking, gains or losses for us as a nation?
Well, I think that the economic diplomacy is actually integral part of the function of the executive of the country. So I see it positively. Engaging with the United Kingdom, I've made 2 trips this month. Engaging with the United Kingdom, the Commonwealth, to talk about free trade and talk about areas of cooperation, technical support, and engaging with the United States in the areas of security and also unlocking investments. You talk about General Electric. We signed the concession agreement with General Electric for the narrow gauge rail. General Electric is also going to power the turbines, or sell the turbines to us to release 2,000 megawatts of stranded power into the grid. We also think that the wheat, sale of wheat to Nigeria from the U.S. And let's face it, the U.S. is our second largest trading partner, both on the import side, on the export side. Why are they doing this? They're doing this because the Chinese are gaining an upper hand on the influence in Africa. So I think it's important to see this as part of the role of the president in terms of pursuing economic diplomacy. But economic diplomacy is of no use if the economy is weak. The economy will be weak and so optimized as long as your budget is not passed. So the consequence of this squabbling, the consequence of this delay is that there is a cost to it, not only in terms of financial terms and broad macroeconomic terms, but in terms of macroeconomic stability. And if the economy is unstable, it could be followed by political instability and a risk to national integrity.
Mr. Bismarck, thank you so much for your time. Mr. Ogunye, in 20 seconds, where do you see this ending?
Well, I'm fascinated by a discussion on the issue of the president trip. And I just want to say this in closing. I wasn't told that the Chinese economy became what it is today because of foreign investment. I wasn't told that the American economy itself became what it is today because of the investment of the British, of the French in the American economy. It's high time Nigeria started thinking about developing itself, relying on its own potentials, relying on its own resources, including human capital, relying on everything that is Nigerian, even while not shutting itself out from the world.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ajiti Oguye. Always a pleasure having you on the program. Mr. Bismarck, it's a pleasure having your counsel on the program on some of these issues. That's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching, wherever you may be watching, on mobile, online, or on your television. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sure Akimalo, everyone. Bye-bye.